Alabama has played the strongest strength of schedule in college football. They have beaten 4 straight ranked opponents. They're the only team in America to do so. They also have the best win so far up to this point this season, going on the road and giving Georgia their first home loss in over 6 years. And they just mopped the floor with Tennessee. Nobody in college football has a better resume than what Alabama does right now. So I'm lost to how Ohio State is still perceived as the #1 team in college football, despite Alabama having a tougher schedule than Ohio State, beating more quality opponents than Ohio State. But everybody still wants to tweak off the fact that Alabama lost to Florida State in week 1. Get over it. That was 6-7 weeks ago. We are in the midway point of this season. The eye test clearly shows that Alabama is the best team in college football. From an eye test standpoint and a resume standpoint, nobody else is touching Alabama right now. But you see, people want to use these mental gymnastics. Oh, SEC bias. Alabama's just propped up because they beat a bunch of overranked SEC teams. Vanderbilt is not overranked. Vanderbilt would have beaten Penn State. Penn State was overranked, though. USC was overranked, though. There were plenty of teams in the Big Ten this year that were overranked. Illinois was overranked. That's Ohio State's best win. You can say Texas was overranked, cool, but Alabama hasn't played Texas. They beat Georgia, who more than likely is going to get into the playoffs. Tennessee could still be a top 12, top 15 team this year. They could be one of the first 4 teams out of the playoffs. They still are a quality team. Alabama has played a better schedule, and they've been more dominant against better quality teams than what Ohio State has. I'm not using this to completely knock Ohio State. Ohio State has an argument for being the #1 team in college football. But let's not make it seem as if Alabama has no business being in the conversation for being ranked #1. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. Life is 10% about what happens to you and 90% about how you respond. And losing to Florida State is why Alabama has played the way that they have. If Alabama beats Florida State, who knows if they beat Georgia on the road? Who knows if they look as dominant as what they have so far? You need certain canon events to happen in order for certain things to transpire. Right now, Alabama, with the way Ty Simpson has played, he's been the best quarterback in America. He's been the obvious front runner for the Heisman Trophy. They have arguably the best receiving core in all of college football. Their defense has been pretty good, and they have one of the best coaches in America. Kellen DeBoer is the best head coach in college football without a national championship. He's mopped the floor with the majority of college football's best head coaches. There is nothing about Alabama that should disqualify them right now for being ranked the #1 team in college football. You want to use SEC bias as an excuse to diminish the success that Alabama has, and it's BS. I can use the same argument that you're using to diminish Alabama, to diminish what Ohio State has done, to diminish what Indiana has done. Indiana beat the Oregon team whose best win is against a lifeless and soulless Penn State team that just lost to Iowa, who has zero offense. Who gives a hoot about Alabama losing to Florida State? Move on. Last time I checked, it's not week 1 anymore. It's about to be week 8, week 9. Alabama's the best team in America right now. Anybody saying otherwise is either being disingenuous because they have this tinfoil conspiracy that ESPN just has to prop up all of the SEC teams. You guys do realize that ESPN doesn't just show SEC teams, right? They showcase ACC teams, Big 12 teams. Fox only showcases Big 10 opponents and a few of the Big 12 games. That's it. So how is it that ESPN is biased towards the SEC when they broadcast games for 2 other P4 conferences? The logic doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand why common sense is called common sense if everybody doesn't seem to have it. Common sense would tell you that Alabama, based off resume, based off the eye test, based off strength of schedule, based off the fact that they have the Heisman frontrunner, the hottest quarterback in America right now, it's the number one team in college football. But you want to be disingenuous. You want to try to diminish this team's success because you can't come to the reality that the SEC is the best conference in college football. They've run this sport for over 2 decades. Just because the Big Ten has had their cup of coffee for the past 2 years and Michigan and Ohio State have won a national championship doesn't mean that the Big Ten has surpassed the SEC. As a matter of fact, it further proves my point why the SEC is better than the Big Ten. The Big Ten forever has been a 4-team conference. Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and then a random 4th team, which has been Indiana. And you can knock off Penn State since Oregon has been much better than Penn State. Penn State, their season's done. Same with Michigan. Michigan is in that top 4. There's more depth in the SEC this year than where there is in the Big Ten. And it's not a hypothetical. I'm not giving you, if Indiana played in the SEC, they will have 3 losses by now. I'm not giving you hypotheticals. I'm giving you facts. People want to have a consistent criteria for how we evaluate these teams. And the first thing people go to is, who have you played? Your strength of schedule. Alabama has the number 1 strength of schedule in college football, but we got to play mental gymnastics, though, because it's SEC bias. Are you kidding me? How much are you going to move the goalposts until you come to the realization that Alabama is the number 1 team in college football based off every criteria that you use to evaluate and rank these teams? They passed the eye test. They have the most ranked wins in college football. They have played in the most games against ranked opponents than anybody else. 4 straight, as a matter of fact. They have the best win, ending Georgia's 6-year streak of home wins. And that still isn't enough for you? That still isn't enough for you to say that Alabama's the best team in college football? What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we still going to use the FSU loss, the hangover Alabama? What about when Notre Dame lost to NIU? Did losing to NIU stop Notre Dame from running through everybody else in the college football playoffs and making it to national championship? No, it didn't. If you're trying to diminish Alabama and how good this team truly is because they lost to FSU, I have nothing to say to you. Nothing else to say to you.